So can see my slide, right? I'm sharing the slide now. You all can see a slide. Today's topic is on D05 principles and practice of marketing. Okay. Although we were earlier on thinking of the likely agenda with the participant, then one of the person who also bring up some questions, and then I will do the main part, and then the person who bring up the questions also participate in the meeting lah. But of course, this time Angie said she has been busy last few days, so unable to prepare lah. So anyway, I prepared for today's show. So right, we just go in. Thank you for coming for this Zoom meeting, and then the other part that I want to emphasize is that I will do a bit on history lah, what we have been doing for the last two Zoom meeting. So we recollect back monthly meeting. We're supposed to do monthly meeting for our Zoom meeting for helping out some who are sitting for exam. So we had one at end of August where I did the first Zoom meeting, mainly to talk about our group, which is our study group. And then in the last month, September 13, we did the property taxation. So now we are doing the D05 principles and practice of marketing. So marketing for a topic, most of us actually heard about marketing, and if we were to use our own language to give a definition for marketing, sometimes we have a problem of thinking how to say marketing in a definition. And if you look at the American style of doing definition, in American style of doing definition, there are a few society, and then CIM of UK, Chartered Institute of Marketing of UK also have their definition. But the definition I want to share with you now today is my own definition with this chart. So what is marketing to me is just about how about how to deliver persuasive approach to a target, and then in fact to get the bull's eye, and then doing it with a profit. So of course it's in business, marketing is used in business. So this, you can see a lot of arrows, and then a lot of arrows are not hitting the bull's eyes. That is the problem. A lot of time, many of us are actually doing this paper and thinking that we are trying to answer the questions as much as the question been asked, but actually we do not know exactly what they want for our answer. So that's why some of us actually fail this paper a few times. So the main reason why I'm bringing up this slide is actually the likelihood of why we are not able to pass this subject. Sales people, as we are sales people, mainly doing some of our daily work into the sales of real estate or whichever other sales job that you are in. The first one is that we want to have more time interacting with our purchaser, our buyer, our prospect. Then we are, in a way, we are not actually spending time thinking. We are spending time talking to our contacts and talking to our buyers, and then we are not spending enough time, in fact, thinking about what we should be prepared to do. So a lot of this issue also happen in our industry, as many of us have been in the industry as a negotiator. So a negotiator, in fact, just want to get the contact and close sales. So negotiator just want to get the commission payout, and then they don't want to spend time thinking about what is marketing. So in fact, they are mainly closing sales, and they are just doing selling. They are not doing marketing. A lot of our negotiators out there are doing marketing and not doing, are doing selling but not doing marketing. Second reason is that database keeping and doing all these marketing things is actually a long process. Getting your data from the field, that means to know what your customer want, to know what are the objections that they have, and what are the competitors around. These are all very long process, messy things. And a lot of time, it doesn't give you the money, it doesn't give you the commission to pay you your bills. So a lot of time, as a salesperson, we don't think about marketing, but we only think about selling because of this reason. Third is that usually coming out with all these sales kit and all these brochure, leaflet and flyers, all these are work of the developer and all work of the product manager in a company. So as a salesperson in the field, we don't want to think too much about those things, and therefore this brings to the last, which I written in red. This brings to the last issue whereby D05 marketing is a difficult to pass paper because we are not naturally thinking like a marketer. We are naturally thinking like a seller. We are selling things, but we are not a marketer. And the problem with this is that it becomes a long process, in a way, a long ingrained things in our mind that we don't really want to know how marketing is done. We just want to do the selling, closing the sale, take the money, and we don't care. And some of these reasons are the reasons that we sit in front of exam papers. We are unable to really think about what to write during the exam. So let me continue. So thinking about how to approach this paper, you must think about courtship, how to attract your boyfriend or your girlfriend. In fact, this is entirely the reason why I put this particular slide, because a lot of time we just want to sort of settle whatever sales process, or in fact getting our objective by just trying to close in 1 to 2 sentences. But marketing is not like that. Marketing is talking about from the preparing, from the earlier preparation. Let's say you want to invite a lady for a date, go out for a dinner or go out for a particular activity. You have to really think from the beginning how you would have to phrase your words, how are you going to position yourself, how are you going to maybe even call her and speak to her. And all these are something which you don't actually get result. These are all in your mind, you are thinking about it, but then you are not getting result immediately. So these are planning processes, and these are strategies that you have to think about. And all these are what is required to write in the exam. It's not required just on the fact that I call her and then she gives me okay for tonight, going for a dinner. That's it. It's not like that. So you got to think from starting where to bring her, which restaurant to bring her, what food to bring her, whether she likes it or not. All those things you got to think, and those are the issue about marketing. And in the exam, we usually actually forget all this part on the answer, and then we just go straight to the end, calling and asking for a sale. So in such a manner, then it becomes a situation like this. That means that you are not able to really know your customer. You are not really targeting the correct customer group, and you are in fact wasting a lot of your energy doing things that may antagonize your customer. So in such a manner, it is it is important that in the earlier slide I was saying about the definition of marketing, that a lot of time you have fired a lot of arrows. You have actually shot a lot of arrows, but only one that actually lands onto the bullseye. And why is it so that only one arrow only able to get the bullseye, not the rest of the arrows that you have shot? It's because you did not do the correct marketing. So up to now, we have understood a bit on all the subject paper in the diploma of in our diploma in estate agency. So I want to actually give you a picture of the total 12 papers, and then where about is marketing in terms of the approach. This is something also like a strategy. So if you are looking at this graph, you have the top, which is the memory driven. I mean, if if you are a person who is very good in studying and remember things, then these are the subjects like law papers, introduction to law, laws relating to property, estate agency law. These are the papers that you find it easy and straightforward for you, because it needs a lot of brain power. It needs a lot of your grand matters. But then on the opposite side, the far end, which is application driven, they mean the paper that wants a candidate, a student to write the application part, then this is the extreme other end. And indeed, principles and practice of marketing is like this. So if you read a past year paper, past year question of principle and practice of marketing, actually, you probably you cannot think out exactly the same answer, although the question may look the same. Whereas in the case of introduction to law or any of the law related paper, when you read the questions, you can understand that this is the answer that they want you to write. And whereas they are in the middle, some of these papers which are in the middle, like land economics, which is partly theory based, partly also application based. And then, of course, the area whereby I put below on the part on the application, a lot of the other like valuation economics, you don't actually need to memorize a lot, but a lot of it is about understanding and how do you approach the question and try and give a solution by applying some of the knowledge that you have learned. It's not totally like you vomit out things that you have remembered. And of course, taxation, you need a lot of calculation sometimes, so it becomes a bit of showing how you want to apply your calculation. And then building technology, you do actually need to remember some of the terms, but then at the end, it's also like, understanding why it is like that. So I would say some people would tend to feel that this part, which is memory driven, is very heavy, very hard to pass, because they need to memorize a lot of things. But the same type of person who feels this is tough subjects, difficult to pass, may find the marketing paper easy to pass. And I am one of such a person. I feel marketing is easy paper, but then I feel that the law subjects are difficult subjects. So you may be in the middle, you may be very far extreme, but you need to know. And when you look into some of the past years, you must also find out that some of these are repeated, and if you have a strategy, the repeated ones may be able to help you to use the same application, same way, try to give a good solution, good script for the examiner to pass you the subject. Right, this is the syllabus of marketing paper. So if you can see, I have actually copied out from one of my earlier video, which is about summary on, you can go back to my website and then go to the same video, and then you will see the same extract of the syllabus, which is quite clear. We have 4 parts, and then the one that I put a smiley face is actually market research. So if you actually divide it out, you can actually divide out to 5 major parts of the syllabus. So take out the research part, which is very few questions nowadays. That means they don't really ask research methodology, market research procedure. They don't ask very often now. And the question that they ask are usually grouped under 4 parts. So these 4 parts I have grouped under these 4 big boxes. Marketing define, objective of marketing, marketing selling, market, current market. This is basic, like first 2-3 chapters of your book. And this is like definition, related to definition. So you would usually have questions when they ask you about definition, and you just need to write out the definition. Then the second topic is about product life cycle, who buys the product, who are the buyers, what are the behavior, pricing, and new development of the products. Then the third one will be segmentation, targeting, and then implication in the real estate scenario, how segmentation is done. Then the last one is the market tools, advertising, public relations, sales, promotion, budgeting, all these using media to do your marketing. But if you were to remember the syllabus, I must say that actually most of us, we do not go back to the syllabus and read the syllabus. We usually just go to the past year question and then try to answer the past year questions. And then you will see a pattern of how the past year is asked in such a way. Sometimes the necessity of understanding the syllabus, in fact, is not so apparent. You don't actually need to really go into say that whether it is in the syllabus or this particular question is out of the syllabus. You don't need to think like that, because at the end, what you are facing is that you cannot go back to the board and say that board, you have set a question that is out of syllabus, right? You cannot go back and question that. So at the end, you go back to the past year question and you try and get a good maybe understanding of how they're going to ask your questions and then how you're going to answer the questions. So maybe this is not so important in our approach for marketing, because marketing is very much a bit more like understanding application rather than law paper or some of these taxation paper where you need to memorize the section and the subsection. So here you are looking at a subject where you need to really understand and apply and write out your answers. Right, maybe later you will understand what I mean. I will summarize later in a bit so that you can understand how you're going to approach this subject in an easier manner. So this is a very crowded slide. I don't think that you can read in a single, single column where the wordings can be very small. What I put this slide here is actually to tell you that marketing subject as compared to other subjects, it's not like a taxation subject whereby every year you may have a new budget, and then the new budget, therefore you are actually answering a question that is related to the changes that is in the 2019 budget, been passed in the parliament. So in marketing, there is no such thing that is changing. Everything is the same. 10 years ago and even 20 years ago, the same marketing theory is been around for a long time. So you tend to see that there will be no question that is out of the norm. That means you always see the repeated type of questions. The only reason why people fail marketing in a lot of scenario is, as I said just now, a lot of people approach this paper as a salesperson. They are not answering this paper as a marketer. So they only think to the level of the last stage, whereby they see the prospect and sell their property. They are not thinking about the earlier stages, whereby they need to go and sit down and plan their marketing plan. So I think we just skip this particular analysis. You can actually go back and look at the past year questions, and you can actually classify that yourself also. It's not a very difficult thing to do. So this is what I have done. So the 5 or 4 major topics that usually come out in the exam. In fact, I want to maybe put this as just 4 because market research usually won't come out anymore. So here you are looking at one part, which is the 4P in marketing: pricing, strategy, factor, micro, environment, real estate, characteristic affecting the choice of marketing approach. And then the second one is market segmentation, targeting, positioning, differentiation strategy. Third is define. This is more like concept and theories, and you have to give definition. The fourth one is the customer relationship management. So I just summarize. In fact, you only need to remember 4 only. Actually, I make it easier for you. 1 to 4. You just remember that there is one which is the concept one. That means definition, theory related. There is another 3. The other 3 actually you divide it out as 4P, which is the market mix, the marketing mix, which is under this one, marketing mix 4P. Then you have one which is actually the marketing strategy principle, which is the segmentation, targeting, and positioning one. And this one actually spring out to the last one, which is the CRM, the customer relationship management. So in fact, marketing, you only study 3 areas. Actually, 3 areas means what? First, the marketing mix, 4 Ps. After that, you spring to the area where you study the marketing strategy. So this is actually the 4 principles of marketing strategy. Then after that, you spring to the last part, which is the emphasis on the whereby customer become your very close, because customer are giving you the revenue that you want. So you need to continue keeping the relationship with the customer. So this part is actually the evolution of how marketing came about. So in the earlier days, because we did not have computer, we did not have email, we did not have all these WhatsApp, so we could not have marketing so-called going into a database, like in the current day where you have a database. So you heard about the other day somebody put into our WhatsApp saying that one company in the US is buying AirAsia database. One company in US wanted to buy AirAsia database for about how many million. So in the old days, there were no way you can actually have customer-based data, but now you have. So therefore, the marketing principle actually evolved to today, where customer management system become another part of marketing. Right. Let me just maybe check out everything, because I guess a lot of time people tend to think of marketing like reading a book. So you are going to very theory-based thing, but now you throw all those away. You throw all those things away. You just need to think about all this first. So try to think about marketing as these few points I put. So one is you think about what is selling and what is marketing. So just now I gave you the example. If most of us are selling, we are not doing marketing. Therefore, when we sit for this paper, which is a marketing paper, we only answer the selling part. So we don't answer the marketing part, right? Then next is that most of the negotiators who are in the field, actually you compare yourself with your developer salespeople who actually need to work on their flyers, need to work on their brochure, need to actually print their brochure for the negotiator to use. Some of the developer project sales personnel, they are the marketing managers, they have to ask for approval for their flyers, ask for approval for their e-marketing material. So all those actually is their job as a marketer. So as a negotiator, you don't do that. That's why when you don't do that, when you answer the question, you may not see this part of the purpose of the marketing. And then negotiator and agency principle. If you are a negotiator, you don't think about actually how to run an agency. Basically, you just go out and co-sales and then get your commission. But when you are an agency principal, when you actually run an agency, then you have to think about a lot of other issues, which can be a marketing issue, like which system of platform you want to use, how you're going to talk to your project marketing person. So the project marketing person would have other issues like the budget, how much to spend on their marketing. Sometimes even information cannot be simply given to third-party negotiator. Like let's say you are a negotiator working with an agency, and then you needed the price list from your marketing office. Then of course the marketing office of the developer may be worried that this price list is being circulated without their control. So all these are issues of marketing, rather than, of course, for a negotiator, he just needs to close his sales. He doesn't care, right? But then when you are answering a question in a marketing sense, then these issues of control, planning, when to release, all these are issues where you need to consider. Of course, up to now, we have issue about which website to use, how to target your customer. Some maybe in certain place, some in certain places, there are no customer actually seeing Muda. Their customer just use iProperty or Property Guru. You see, so choosing which portal to use, choosing which model or which media to use is also a selection of your section of your segment of your customer. So it's actually segmentation. But then if you were to answer your question, you have to bring all this up and then say that, yeah, I choose to use Muda because I'm looking at this segment of the market. Why? Because there are people who buy motorbike and then buy motorbike and buy cars at the same time also want to rent house. So that is the segment of the market that you want to target. But then, of course, you cannot use the same model answer similar when you use iProperty, because iProperty doesn't have vehicle selling. It doesn't sell other type of things, items apart from selling property. So, of course, these are where that you have to think outside the box, think outside, rather than just thinking, I use this system because it gets me the commission, that's it. So if you answer like that, then probably you are not thinking as a marketer, right? And then what type of advertisement to use, media, what type of approach you want to use, younger generation, older generation of customer. And we have one standard 6 MEAS, Malaysian Estate Agency Standard Advertising and Marketing. This one, of course, is more regulation related. So, of course, marketing paper in the current sense, this particular marketing paper will not ask for Malaysian Estate Agency Standard 6 related things. This marketing paper is basically just purely marketing. But then if you go to later on, you go to part 2, when you do estate agency practice or you do estate agency law, then this standard 6 is important. Social media marketing, and now we are looking at even social media marketing. So what sort of way that you can use social media marketing to answer your question? Why you choose to use Facebook? Why you choose to use LinkedIn? So all these are ways that you can use as an example in your answer to the part that applying your marketing knowledge for your answer to win marks. And of course, if you don't think about all these earlier ones, you just think about the 3 below. Would you want yourself to answer your questions like a brand manager of, say, a multinational company? Let's say you're selling big mega mall. Let's say you are doing a commercial mega mall, so you are the chief marketing officer of this mega mall. So how are you going to sell your mega mall, to rent out your mega mall, right? So you have to put yourself in that position to think. You cannot put yourself as a negotiator to go and do rental for a commercial building, because that will not be the level that they need the answer, whereby examiner in this paper want you to be a chief marketing officer. So if you choose to think as a salesman, then probably part of the question you can answer it that way. You choose to sell certain thing that way because you are a salesperson. You need the material. You need the, you need the brochure or the e-leaflet. And then at times you also need to think of yourself as a communication officer, because marketing is about communication. So these are ways that you may win marks when you are actually answering your questions. Right. So let me go on. Right. We were talking about two main parts, and then I put the exclamation here because a lot of time, probably people do not understand marketing strategy, planning, action plan, budget, research. They only talk about objection handling, effective closing, sales force management. So you try to think backwards. So this is exactly we were talking about earlier. So what is marketing? The confusion, a lot of people tend to answer the questions, the confusion of what level of answers that the examiner wants. So actually, there is a different level of depth you are looking at in the answering approach. There's also a different width. I mean, how deep it is and how wide it is. There's a different approach. So of course, if you can give the depth and also the width, then the examiner will understand that you do really appreciate you to write to that level that you are able to convince the examiner to give you marks. So I put in this chart very much a scenario. From the top to the bottom is depth. So you think of one person marketing, or you think of everyone is marketing. Let's say if you are a marketing company, I would say you are a developer company. So now you are looking at whether it is only yourself, one person selling, doing the marketing, or is it everybody? You have a marketing team, then you have the whole lot of sales team who are, everybody is involved in marketing. And then you also can look at from the budget side, whether which media you use. You are using one way to market, or you are using more ways to market, or media to market. So if you can answer both that and also with, then you will have a very good complete answer. And therefore, this answer may win you pass in the exam. So we go back to more technical one. We go back to more technical one to spot questions. So these are the spot questions which I have gone through for the past 9 years, and usually they would want to ask that they talk about philosophy, marketing philosophy. They talk about definition, as I said just now. They talk about way of doing research, kind of market research, planning, how to craft your differentiation, how to craft your niche market. Then they talk about some of the strategies, and then the way that you look at the environment that affect your strategy, and then whether it is within the company or it is outside the company, or is it the political, sometimes they call it the pest factor. So all these are actually studied in management as well. But then in marketing, this is confined mainly to the 4 Ps. So you're looking at the environment using these 4 Ps, the product, promotion, price, and place. So application in your answer writing, your application part, you need to really think and answer the question based on the application for the marketing mix. And then the segmentation, as I said just now, differentiation of your product range, like you are looking at, let's say, real estate, then the developer. So developer has different products. So how are they going to differentiate their products so that they can sell to different segments on the market? So segmentation, database capture, and then customer-driven marketing strategy. So it's a repeat of what I said just now. You are looking at 3 parts only, 3 main parts. One is using 4P, using 4P marketing mix. Second, using segmentation. All these are actually marketing strategies. How to differentiate, how to specialize, how to target, and how to position. This is the second part. The third part is how are you going to tackle the customer to keep them in a database so that you can repeatedly go back to them, and then they will contribute to your future revenue. So these are the 3 main parts, plus the one that I said earlier on, the definition, the concept, the principle that you need to vomit out, remember from the book, and then you answer it. So 4 questions you have to answer. So if you can choose these 4, you should be able to pass this exam. So likely product life cycle, these are very technical. Marketing application in launches, pricing, usually they will ask about new launches. How are you going to help the developer to launch the new projects? Selling, pricing, how do you position the price? Selling, using their own sales force or using agency sales force or using a combination of sales force from both sides. And then usually, again, goes back to price, promotion, place, and product. So here I want to mention mainly they'll ask question about pricing. How do you launch a new project pricing? How do you do promotion? Placing very hard. In fact, nowadays maybe more. Last time placing for real estate is very hard because real estate is not like cola or your shampoo. You can actually bring in different transport mode. They say one goes with airplane, the other one goes with ship. The other part it goes to lorry. This one, real estate cannot be sent to customer. You cannot go send your house to another place to sell. Cannot. So now the placing for real estate will be thinking more like a scenario of whether it's online listing. You put all your real estate online, or you have another way offline. Let's say you do roadshow, you do showroom or show house, opening your show house. These are maybe different promotional channel. But placing in the way in the real estate sometimes can get confused with promotion in that sense. So anyway, I never saw question asking about placing for question on marketing. Product, yes, product usually they will ask how to improve your product feature for real estate, and maybe build a better home with infrastructure, with services, with all the strata buildings, all with a lot of product features. So back to the important key question they will ask is about segmentation and positioning. So basically, we just touched on this as one of the 4. We mean concept, 4P. This is This is marketing strategy, principle of marketing strategy, segmentation, focus, concentration, positioning. The last is customer relationship management. So here we can see that there are different ways of how to segmentize and how to do segmentation. Of course, the purpose, the real purpose of segmentation is that you are having a limited resource. You are not a limitless company where you can spend all your money anyhow you want, but you are a limited resource to spend, limited budget to spend, and therefore, how are you going to choose where you want to put the money? So basically, that segment of customer is the real segment of people who can actually close your deal. So they can close deal, therefore you put all the money to promote this group of people. So basically, all our marketing we talk about this very clear cut. Who is your customer? Who is the customer that can buy from you? When you do a little bit of promotion, they will already buy. So this is the group of customers that you have to target. No point spending endless money talking to everybody and then 99% of them are not in your customer group. That means they are not ready to buy. So in a way, in the long-term scenario, we have like customers who are tenant. So customers who are tenant may one day want to buy. You see, so these are the rightful customer that we have to go back. And when you do this, it actually is actually a segmentation already. It becomes a segmentation system, how you position yourself on this group of ready to buy customer. Of course, there are some tenants who never buy lah. Of course, we know there are people who never want to buy a property, but these are again subgroup. So I actually want to use this to explain to you what exactly is the level of application. This part is a bit abstract in concept. So if you were to answer questions, you have to think like that. When a person is a multiple way of you can describe a singer. Let's say this is Li Jian. Of course, some of you may know this singer. Li Jian is a very talented singer. He is a very different singer because he doesn't actually sing certain type of song. His songs are very characteristic of his way of singing. So this is what is marketing strategy. The 4 principles of marketing strategy. One of it is called specialization. So you are a specialized person, you are unique in your ways, so you need to be different from others. So this is called differentiation, right? And then you have to put all your effort in the promotion of your way of singing to the right category of listener, the right category of crowd that want to listen to you. So this is called segmentation. And then the last part is, of course, you have to deliver your punch. You have to deliver your maybe your concert in a very grand manner. Then you can actually achieve that volume. So that is called focus or concentration. So this is basically just talk about marketing strategy lah. So if you can understand this way of thinking, then you will be able to answer maybe in the correct manner. So he is a singer. It's a generic way of saying that he is a singer. But he is also a musician because he writes his own songs. He is actually a writer. He can produce his own music. And then he is also an artist because he actually does creative things, you see. So he is not just playing musical instrument. He is able to make musical instrument to come together and become a new form of art. So he is an artist. But he is a star. In fact, it's like you are a salesman. You look at yourself just as a salesman, but behind a salesman, they can be, in this case, behind a star, he can be an artist, he can be a musician, he can be a singer. So you have to think to answer this question of a marketing question, you have to think behind. That means who are you supposed to be when you answer that question? Whether you're supposed to be just a salesperson or you are supposed to be a marketer. So if you are a marketer, then you have to think much deeper. Like you are a musician, you are an artist, you are creative. But as a salesperson, you are just appearing in front of the crowd and then doing very nice, you can just pause a nice pause and then get a lot of people to take photo. That is a star. So in fact, this is the problem with a lot of people who answer marketing question, whereby they think of it like just straightforward, but it's not that straightforward. You have to go back and think and how you want to create your value so that your value would be seen by your buyer. So to create the value is difficult. Sometimes some people can have that creativity to answer the question, because he writes in a way that the examiner see as, yes, this is the way to interpret how to do it better than the others. Everybody is a salesman. You are a salesman in front of a buyer, but how are you going to become different in front of the buyer? Of course, the property is the same. It's the same unit of property, but how are you going to be different in front of the buyer when the buyer actually want to close a deal with you and not the other negotiator? So that is about marketing. That is not about whether you are a negotiator or not. So example in the way to approach this paper is you have to give examples which is related to real estate. And a lot of time you need to think about these three areas. You need to think about whether it is a residential property, whether it's a commercial property, whether it's a land or it's a mega project. So always answer your question thinking in the level that you are a consultant to a developer. So you cannot think as you are a negotiator in a agency, because if you are negotiating in an agency, it's very simple. You just get listing, you can put up in advertisement, and then you just see the customer or see the prospect and go sell. And that is not marketing, that is selling only. So this is a chart that I have picked up from my estateagentexam.com, where it's a whole lot. That means from the beginning until the end, understanding the marketplace, customer needs and want, design the customer-driven market strategy, construct integrated marketing program, build a profitable relationship with the customer, and then create customer equity. So all these are, in fact, just summarize it, easy for you. Basically, we call it selling or marketing mix. After that, we talk about market strategy, how to do segmentation, how to choose your correct market, and then how you're going to deliver that punch. Last is customer relationship management. So what is marketing? Marketing actually just simple. Just think of it in three things only. There is a need to create value to fulfill that needs. And then there is this needs that is in the market that you have to generate activity. So there's a lot of activity going on to do marketing. And this activity is basically selling, creating the needs, and then also the satisfying the needs. And then at the end, if there is no clapping of hand, there is no party A and party B or buyer and seller, there is no marketing, because you are just talking to A. So there is an exchange and offering. So if you have three parts, you are talking about marketing already. But this type of definition, if you think about it, quite complicated, quite confusing also. Sometimes for us to answer question in the exam, you just need to be very simple and clear, and then give memorized answer. I hope after having talked so much, you all don't get too confused, because marketing is a subject where you can be confused. So this is marketing mix, product, price, place, promotion, and a lot of time we memorize this and we never apply. So this is a problem. When you do marketing answers, you must apply, right? So this is building blocks and muscles. When you are fighting, when you go to fight, then these are the muscles that you're going to fight. So in marketing battle, in the consumer market, you use this as a muscle to fight. Next is the marketing strategy, 4 principles of marketing strategy. So if you remember, pen, pineapple, apple, pen. So why this guy became so popular? Because he delivered the message to the right audience at the right punch. And therefore, he is remembered because he is different. He is specialized because he's a singer who does this type of thing. Nobody else does this type of thing. He himself does this type of thing. He is differentiated already because there's nobody else like him in the whole world. And then he knows where his segment of market is. And then he knows where to punch. He knows where to give the concentration of promotion. That's why he is successful. So what is marketing? This is marketing. So how do you deliver your correct message to the correct audience and at the right punch, at the right resource to gain a profit. Or else you deliver so much of empty bullet, or you're delivering so much of resource, but then you don't get anybody or anybody to buy from you. It's actually at a loss. So a lot of marketing, if it's a failure, it's actually not marketing. It's actually simply do without marketing. A marketing way of doing things is to deliver the rightful, the correct resource fit to get the profit. So answer questions 4 out of 7. So 2 hours paper, 30 minutes for one answer. Target this 4, I always say, concept definition question, concept principle definition question. Use the 4 P's. If you have question on 4 P's, straightforward, just answer. If you have 4 principle of marketing strategy, that means differentiation, specialization, segmentation, and concentration. Or here, in fact, the whole lot, you just remember positioning. Positioning, one word, actually put everything together. And then after that, you have the last topic, which is customer relationship management. So I put here 1P, 4P, many P, CRM, integrated customer. So this is the evolution of marketing from history. So from the beginning, when marketing came about, it was only about selling. After that, then they think about how to improve. So they have a marketing department. Many years later, then this marketing department become very big, bigger than the sales department, because they have many P's. So they have many P's. In the more recent years, they talk about P's like, for example, people is P lah, productivity or production cycle is P lah. All these are related to newer thinking. And then when they have more, in a way, more IT gadgets, more things that they can have a data of customer, then they become CRM related. Then now in the current stage, in fact, it's talking about higher level, that even customers can like worship the company. The customer become very religiously worshipping the company. So that is integrated, when the customer is integrated to the company. Right. My afterthoughts are just to complete this whole thing. My afterthoughts are, I think, getting about an hour already. The afterthought is why so many people have a problem with the marketing paper. It's because we think too simple. We just want to think very simple and then answer in a straightforward manner. But it is not like that. Marketing is about creativity thinking. How are you going to use your resources creatively to handle the problem, the marketing problem? So, well, property has also this problem, because we are inefficient in inefficient market. Why we are in efficient market? Because a lot of transactions are not recorded. So we do not know what price, we do not know how many actually came to view, because there was no record on how many people actually interested in the house. Until very recently that you have all these electronic media and electronic portals and websites where you can actually track how many people visit to see the advertisement. So like now you use Facebook. Facebook has got the Facebook advertisement. Then you know how many people actually click to view that particular advertisement. So only when the market is efficient, all these marketing techniques and the marketing tools can be used in a correct way. In the old days, you cannot have this advantage because nobody can know. Nobody know how many people came to view. You ask the auntie and uncle who is a broker, they won't tell you how many people come to view the house, right? So these are issues. And then property is also very unique. It's physical. You cannot simply reproduce properties. It's not like you are in the marketing of, let's say, okay, let's say we talk about insurance people. Let's say you think about yourself answering question for insurance business. Now you sell an insurance policy. Now the same policy can be reproduced and sold to somebody else. So you can sell the same policy for thousands of people. But you cannot do that with property. Property is so unique, only one. You want to buy this particular angle, this particular facing, after that no more already. So it's because of that, sometimes we don't think that we should do marketing, because at the end, you spend so much time doing that marketing for that particular angle facing. At the end, tomorrow it doesn't need you to do it anymore because it's sold. Whereas for, say, for example, for policies, insurance policies, then you have a lot of marketing to do because you have endless policies to sell. So these are reasons sometimes for us as a negotiator or people in the field, we don't think like that because there's no point because every individual product is different. So that is also a problem with real property because you cannot have a similar, not exactly similar product. And then the third thing I find it difficult for us to know about property is because there is a barrier to property because the property cannot be sold as I want to buy half of your property or I want to buy 1.5 of your property. So pricing structure, pricing method, pricing for consumable goods, you can actually sell by bundle. Let's say you buy item A, item B, then I give you special pricing. But now property you cannot buy. You cannot say I sell you property and property B and I give you whatever price discount. I cannot. So basically, a lot of these marketing tools cannot be used in property because property you don't get this similar type of scenario. Then the last one I find is that a lot of time we use new technology to use it on marketing. Actually, the technology change is not incremental. It's not today you use a bit, tomorrow you use a bit more. It's not like that. It's like today you use technology, tomorrow you use something totally different. Like suddenly you see WhatsApp, suddenly you see things like TikTok. So a lot of this type of very quantum change. So when that change happen, sometimes it's hard to predict because things are happening too fast. So at times, marketing for real estate, sometimes people don't want to jump that particular leap. Very hard to jump that part because if I were to use the say example using selling property by using Lazada, let's say. Of course, there are people saying that listing property in Lazada and get sold in Lazada, or even using certain online selling to sell property. But these are very rare. It doesn't happen. So because of this whole issue, a lot of negotiator, a lot of salespeople, broker, they fall back to the old method, doing the same old thing. So they don't think marketing; they think as a salesman. So they are very insensitive. So the problem with us in doing this paper is that we are very insensitive. We are not the group of people who used to do very creative thinking. And suddenly in front of us, there is this subject which we demand us to think very creatively. Then this is the problem. So you cannot get a good answer. Thank you very much. And I find that I have spoken for almost 51 or 52 minutes. So if in case anyone want to ask questions, or maybe I ask a question. You all can hear me, right? What is the real? What is the reason? What is the reason that maybe you find this is a hard paper, a tough paper to clear? So anything that I can help up in this paper, let me know. In fact, marketing paper, I find it not so difficult. I find it not so difficult, but then I know sometimes people. Some actually took two attempts to pass. So not everybody think the ways I see Maybe there are reasons maybe I can help, but I don't know. Maybe I also feel that sometimes it's about writing skill. Sometimes it's select the wrong question. Sometimes you approach the question initially you thought it's okay, but then later halfway writing, then your mind get confused. You have to be crystal clear. My feeling is that the examiner wants you to actually write something so-called simple and straightforward and in a marketing sense. So a lot of time I find that when they are seeing answers which is like copy out from books and things like that, then maybe they cannot be sure. They cannot be sure you actually understand the concept. So that is the reason that marks are not easily given. So maybe just give you the story. I think now as you are listening, I give you all story about marketing. This one also I go through listening to some of the video and talks about by others. Of course, one of it is Philip Kotler. So marketing actually came about in the evolution of many years, almost 100 years. So you need to understand why marketing came about. That's why we go back to selling. So basically, there is one question about selling one. Every year, there will be one question about sales force management. How do you do your selling? Because marketing actually stemmed out or came out from selling. So in the old days, only one department, that is the sales department. Then you have the production department. So this production department produce item, products, goods, and then the sales team go and sell this product. So they would, in a small countryside or in a small township, then they will just target everybody because not many people. So the population not very big, so everybody is a customer. So when a company slowly grow bigger, then they feel that they cannot be targeting everybody already. So then they go to understand that some people may like this product, some people may not like this product. And therefore, they will have to change and research and then study the product feature. So they stem out from there, the 4 Ps. So they know, okay, some people may want a better product. Therefore, I can have a better product feature, and then I sell at a higher price. So the 4P came about. So after this 4P came about and the transportation and all this evolution of using aircraft and ship came about, then distribution channel came about. So the placing, the P came about. The P for placing distribution came about. Then over years, then they do all these things, spend a lot of money every year, the budget to actually do this 4P. Then they realize actually the world become globalized. You send your things to different country, different nature, different group of customer. End up you are wasting a lot of money, all these resources doing things that you may not actually get the best return. Then they come up with the 4 principles of marketing strategies. So this one is not marketing mix. This one is marketing strategies. What is marketing strategies? Segmentation, positioning. Why? Because you need to know which area where your resources, your limited resources can be put to the best use. So then they study demography, they study culture, they study whether they like to drink coffee in the morning or not, whether they sleep at night or not, all these things. So they go and do all those things in segmentation in all these different sub-segments. So in fact, they can actually go to very detail until sub area, even in geographical sense, even in the nature of the culture, even in the way they do their work. Say some of these very like sports shoes, they can even go to lifestyle segmentation. So all these things came about for many years later, and then it became segmentation and positioning. Then with the new changes now, we have handphone, we have all these database, keeping data, email, blasting, everything. And then we start to have the customer relationship management, the customer-driven marketing. Then after that, at the end, the 5th generation already, this is the 5th evolution, which is using customer as your marketer. That means customers' feedback, customers become partly your company. So this is already integration. So this is the latest that we see now. So this is what followed by marketing gurus, including Philip Kotler. So you just remember this story, then you can know what exactly you are writing. What purpose are you writing? Then maybe in that way, you can answer the question in a better manner. Difficult to give example is because you are not thinking before the exam. What happened is a lot of time we go to the exam, we suddenly feel that there is no example to give. But when you are practicing at home, when you are sitting at home and you think like what I give you just now, when you think like that, then you have a lot of example to give. Then when you go to the exam and you see some certain type of question like that, then you will be able to write. So this is, of course, again, how many people want to do this? Not many people want to do this. Better to go and have a tea, go and can guy with people rather than spend time studying law. And that's why these are issues. So these are issues that you go to classes, you listen to the lecturer just follow the syllabus. They teach you all this in the syllabus. After that, you go to exam hall. You say, hey, cannot use because lecturer give all this Coca-Cola, all this automobile, all this Apple lah, iPad lah. I cannot use in my answer because my answer need to be real estate. Need to give example in houses, in land, in mega mall. No. So you got to prepare ma. So these are things that you need to do your homework lor. But the technique is what I just said just now. The technique is the same. It's just that how are you going to use it? Oh, okay, not any more? Maybe one of you want to say something. Angie want to say something, or Stephen, or Grace. I want to say this. Standard question. 25 marks. How much you want to write? About 2.5 pages of your postgrad paper. So marketing. The question usually A and B. That means one question you have part A and part B. Part A is 15 marks, part B is 10 marks. So if you have this type of characteristic, then I would recommend part which is 15 marks, try and write at least 1.5 to 2 pages. Two pages of postgrad. If it is 10 marks, if you can write 1 to 1.5 pages. Sometimes the 15 marks one is required of you to write about, even you're writing big, in fact three postgrad paper, three pieces. So don't write something which is like very crammed together. You put into paragraph. So when you put into paragraph, you will look nicer and then also longer. Your answer will be something like got a good beginning, and then argument in the middle, and then something like conclusion at the back. So in a way, it gives the examiner that you are writing. Okay lah. Anyone previously? Okay. I answer in point form and describe slight detail, but not like this. Okay, this one. Don't write point form. Really, it is expected that you write in essay form. Okay, all the answers for diploma in estate agency, whichever paper, don't write in point form. You are expected to write a clear answer in an essay format. But then you can do your essay format in a point form, but don't do point 1, don't do point 2, point 3 like that. So you write in an essay like maybe first paragraph 1 point, second paragraph another point, third paragraph another point. So it's actually a simple way of putting your answers in point format. But then don't put point 1, point 2, point 3 like that. No need. So that is the structure of how you should answer your question. But I think sometimes if your answer is good, these are all format. Some of these lecturers, they don't mind. They see your format good, easy to read, they still give you marks. So my feeling is that they wouldn't just simply cross you out because you wrote in a very simple point format because probably they won't penalize like that. Some people write in half Malay, some people half English, campur together, English and Malay campur. They also okay. I have one Kuching guy who passed the part 1. He wrote everything in PM, although he's a Chinese. He's a Chinese, but then he likes it in using Malay. So actually, it's okay also. Just that sometimes my feeling is answer in too short. When you don't elaborate, it may be a good answer in other subjects. Like probably you answer building technology can be a good answer like that because there's nothing much you have to argue or explain. But marketing is entirely about how you pushing. So it's a paper where you need to pushing one. If you can pushing, you are able to gain the marks because the lecturer read, they like the way you pushing. It's okay lah. So sometimes not just like 1 sentence, 2 sentences, but then you need to a lot of elaboration plus giving example. And the example hopefully is related to real estate But sometimes you cannot give exact real estate example. It's okay. It's just that the situation has to be real lah, you know. So like for example, just now I said how to use pricing in your launching of your residential property. Actually, you cannot by saying buying a house and then get a car, right? And then I give you a discount of the house. Correct? No, this probably is not the concept of pricing that is commonly used in the current scenario lah. But of course, there are people who can write, yeah, you know, you buy this house, then you can win a car. You know, that is promotion, using P as a promotion, no? Right? But then you buy this house at a discount of 10%. This is a HOC discount. This one is pricing, correct? But then you cannot use like buy 2 houses, get a different discount. Cannot buy 10 houses, give another discount, correct? Not? So it's very difficult to give the same way of marketing as in consumable goods. So if you think of consumable goods like buying a shampoo, you can buy the shampoo in cartons, in 24, in 48, then the price is different. And then you can bundle it. You can bundle a shampoo with a towel, or bundle a shampoo with a toothpaste. Correct? Not? But you cannot do it in property. Oh. Okay lah. I think although I have one more topic to share, but then I think already past one hour plus, no need lah. Or we keep it to another topic another day. So thank you. Bye bye. I end the meeting now. Bye bye.